All right, we are live again,
We
third
are live.
time.
Third time's the charm. I hope. Well, we did pretty good yesterday. So good morning, good day, whatever time of the day it is, wherever someone might be. How are we doing today?
Yeah,
Not too bad.
actually pretty good. A lot better than yesterday. I had a good night's sleep and I'm ready to go.
All right.
Same. There's some pretty interesting CS:GO stuff, so I want to hear your thoughts about it. So
Yeah, definitely.
So we're gonna dive right into it then, without any further gibberish in between. So, as before, or 2 days before, we start with ESL Pro League, the results of yesterday.
Yep.
And after that we move to today's matches, and then we have some Hearthstone updates, PUBG updates, Fortnite updates, some updates about DreamHack, and then if people have questions we will be answering those. But jumping into the Counter-Strike, the first map yesterday, the first match that was played yesterday was between Ninjas in Pyjamas and Team Spirit, and the Swedish Ninjas 2-0 the Russian machine.
I'm not sure if they're a machine, but let's go with
Yeah, well, the Russian team. Well,
sure.
the first map was tight, 16-14, and then second map, which was Vertigo, was 16-5. So how did you guys feel see series?
I mean, I think it was like you said, the first map was really close. Which, well, yesterday I said I think Spirit will win one map, and well, as much as they didn't, I think they did fairly well on Mirage. Then I don't know. Vertigo really seems like a really good map for NIP. Just in general, they're playing really well on Vertigo. So I think people or teams should really start considering banning Vertigo against NIP because it's clearly, I think, their strongest map right now.
Yeah, Spirit definitely had a chance to win the Mirage, but they had no chance in Vertigo. Absolutely no.
It was really a stomp. I think Spirit was up on Mirage. Let me check. No, it was 13-13 at one point. Okay. Well, they had a good spot anyway. They really should have been able to close it out. And, well, too bad for them. Honestly, I would have kind of wanted to see a third map because the Vertigo was so one-sided. I'm pretty sure if we went to 3 maps, it would have been really close again. So, interesting stuff. Really good for NIP. Obviously, 2 wins puts them, like, honestly, puts them in a situation where they should be able to be top 3 at the end of this because already winning against Astralis is huge. So I really see NIP being in the driver's seat to go through. So that's very good for them.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah. Continue, please.
just to mention, I think Plopsky was definitely the player that stood out for me, and I think he has been for a while. He's been doing way better than I expected him to do. Honestly, he's looking rocks. Just to
I
mention
mean,
something.
yeah, plus 21 and 1.58 rating. So, I mean, those stats are really, really, really good. But it's not like Twist was really good yesterday too. Plus 10, 1.29.
Sure. I think Plopsky's the one. He had like a period where he was kind of the bottom fragger of the team, but I think all of this year, pretty much, if I'm not incorrect here, he's been basically the top fragger of the team, which is basically not at all what we expected at one point. So he's doing very well, and NIP are also doing really well. So that's good to see. Good for Swedish Counter-Strike to have some success at least.
Yeah, I think the whole team has stepped up lately, and I think this league is right place for them to be. It gives them really good opponents. It gives them opportunity to show uh, uh, they're getting better. So I think it's good for us to see the NIP playing better and better.
Yeah, also, just to mention, next game they will play ENS, so on paper they should be able to beat ENS, and if they do, they are pretty much guaranteed, I suppose, to go through. So that's pretty cool. Very good for NRP.
Yeah. Second matchup yesterday was between Astralis and Godsend, where Astralis 2-0'd.
Convincingly.
Convincingly, and you could say it was expected. 16-5, 16-7. It's kind of a no questions asked situation. Godsend didn't really have a real shot at any time.
No, I mean, I think we did give Godsend some chances to at least pick one map up, and especially Vertigo, but that didn't pan out at all. So, I don't know. Bad day at the office for Godsend, but then again, I think it was also a situation where Astralis actually played like we expect them to play, right? We do expect them to be this good, and yeah, there was some question marks obviously after the loss to NIP, but I guess we can say Astralis looks like they are back to whatever they are supposed to be. I'm not sure what happened against NIP, but this was pretty convincing. So
Yeah, I watched the first map, the Vertigo, and I think Godsend tried pretty interesting stuff. There's new strategies that I haven't seen and casters haven't seen before, and they are definitely doing some new things in Vertigo, but against Astralis it just wasn't enough. But I think Godsend is really trying to make Vertigo as their go-to map.
yeah, and I think, I mean, even if it's 16-5 and also stat-wise, it's pretty obvious that Astralis really, really dominated. I still see some hope for Godsend. I don't think it was that horrible or anything. I really think they will come back and be strong, especially against the weaker side of teams in this group. I really don't think this is a catastrophe for them. They can still bounce back for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I think Godsend is like a mental team. If they get good mental, they get good start, they will do well. And now they got a horrible start in Vertigo, and they had no chance in Inferno either. So I think this team is good, but if they get the start they get here, they just crumble. And when they get better start against other team, it's just so different story for them.
Yeah, and also just to mention, I mean, they started this tournament with playing Vitality and now Astralis, so they have the toughest start possible as well. So obviously 0-2 is not good, but I really, really believe that they can beat ENCE, NIP, and Spirit. Like, I don't think that's impossible at all for them. So, but let's see. Astralis dominant, but not counting Godsend out just yet anyway.
I'm trying to find something from yesterday here. We are now moving to the last series that was played yesterday, which was between Vitality and ENCE, where the French squad beat ENCE respectively 2-1. I'm trying to find one message. This is a message Janne you sent yesterday evening. I swear to God, ENCE is just about the worst shit I have ever seen in the pro scene. So when you consider the first map, Mirage, where ENCE was down 13 zip, getting a 2-1 result is actually a win for ENCE, considering they won Inferno 16-8, which again you could call a miracle, because Inferno has been ENCE's downfall pretty much all the time, and now they were able to beat a team such as Vitality in Inferno. Obviously, then the ending in Dust 2, where you are 15-14 and Sergey forgets to buy a weapon, it's kind of after a timeout even. It kind of sums up ENCE's situation at the moment in a way, kind of like when you're just about to get a hold of things, something like that happens, and then it's kind of fuck all. So I don't know. I was expecting Vitality to 2-0, so I think this is really good for ENCE. But yeah, that's just me.
Well, I agree to some degree that it's like they are not meant to win or something. God is against them or whatever, because they really, like sometimes they are playing bad a lot of the time, but they are also, honestly, they are getting unlucky, and they had a lot of close losses the recent times, and I don't think that's an excuse anymore, but it's still, nothing is going their way. They are not getting anything for free, that's for sure, and I think I stand by my words when I said it's some of the worst Counter-Strike I've ever seen, because honestly, their T side on Mirage was, I don't even know what to say. Most of the time, they had no proper strategies. When they get a bomb plant, they didn't cover each other. There seemed to be no communication, at least not proper or good one. It just looked horrible. Then I'm obviously surprised they managed to get back from that and win Inferno. Like I said yesterday, I really think Inferno is a horrible map for ENS, but somehow, some way, they managed to basically stomp Vitality, right? So okay, that's good and all, but then they lose the series, and it feels like this is what happens to ENS all the time now. Even when they are doing better or they're doing well, they just somehow they lose. You know, it used to be 1 year ago they managed to win in an amazing fashion. Now they just manage to lose somehow every time, it feels like. And but still, it's a step forward for sure. Like this was way better than we seen earlier from ENS, so
Yeah,
it's something.
but to be honest, this was not good CS:GO. For the whole game wasn't good.
No, that's
There's two teams playing against each other. One of them kicked their in-game leader and doesn't want one, and one team lost their in-game leader and not yet having new one. So there was no great strategy, and I think Inferno from Vitality. It was just lack of strategy and lack of organization. Uh, they just they didn't do anything in Inferno. That's why ENS got so free win there. Vitality
yeah.
couldn't adapt to situation.
I'm still surprised that Vitality's CT side on Inferno was that weak. I mean, they picked up 5 rounds, but it could have easily been that they picked up 3 or so. And that's still surprising, because I think a team, even if you have a player change, you should be able, with just some fundamental CS and skilled players, you should do better than that against ENS. Especially it's their map pick, they must have practiced it at least more than the others, right? And I don't know, that was pretty disappointing. But I don't know how to conclude this one. It looks pretty rough for ENS. Too bad for them they couldn't close this one out, because there was opportunities. And I mean, next game they have NIP. I don't see them winning, but they need to win. Then the issue is that in the last game they will have Astralis, and they will be forced to win that as well. So ENS going to the playoffs of this doesn't look very likely, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I want to point something out here. Let me just quickly. Dun, dun, dun. No, but if you look at like the series ENS has played, Allu has been like performing partly like Allu was the best player of the series yesterday.
Allu has been very good, like I said yesterday. I think he's been exceptionally good, actually.
And he did very well head to head to Chai Wu, which was really good.
Yeah. I mean, Allu was Allu's rating yesterday is 1.38, and Zaiwu is 1.35. It's a small margin, but still Allu is ahead. And this is because I just wanted to kind of point it out. Let me see quickly.
I think more important than anything, he was winning duels a lot, and Saiwu, even like Saiwu was good, but they still controlled him fairly well. I mean, obviously it wasn't enough to win the game, but it was still a pretty good performance, even though I dropped the hammer on them after 13-0 on the first map. But I really, like I said, I don't regret saying that, because the T side on Mirage was it was terrible. So
yeah, but one point I made yesterday also was that Misuta had terrible performance in in Inferno, his ADR was 35.7, and that's really not acceptable in this level.
It doesn't
That's
work.
not acceptable.
Yeah. I sent you a link,
Yeah,
Mika.
I opened it.
Quickly, just go before we start going over today's matches. About the top players and the top teams that have been performing at the moment, and a little bit data. Like Plopsky is the best player in the tournament at the moment, and in my eyes, surprisingly, Cajun B at this sub point is second.
Well, I think there's far from enough data to make this super relevant. There's 2 games, but like NIP has basically 2 big stomps. The one against Astralis, surprisingly enough, and then the Spirit game, they had one map that went, what was it, 16-5 or something like that. So it doesn't say that much. Like, I don't want to take too much out of it, but yeah, sure. I mean, we praised Plopsky already. Then KGB is more surprising to me, to be fair. So
Yeah, I wanna open this page when the groups are over, and
Yeah.
that gives us.
No, but it's going to be fun to follow. Like now,
Yeah.
after NIP has played 4 maps, Plopsky's at 1.54, which is really, really high. Obviously, there's going to be variety, that's for sure, but
Yeah.
I don't think we have seen like over 1.35 performances in a tournament in a long while.
well, at least not much above it. I think we had some 1.4s by Saiwu at the end of last year or so, in autumn. But either way, well, again, I want to point out that I don't think this is very significant or that it's very relevant, but considering that NIP plays ends next, I think you might keep that up, actually.
Yeah, 1.6 or something.
I don't know, I sound like an ends hater, but sorry.
No, but at the moment we're talking by facts. Like these aren't opinions. It's just raw data. Like how ENS has been playing lately, it should be 2-0 for NIP. But let's talk more about that tomorrow, because now it's time to talk about the games of today. And the first series is going to be between Force and North. North is a small favorite here, not by a big margin, but what do you guys think?
I don't know. I'm very torn about this one because, I mean, it's obvious that North are favored because of how they played against Navi, but I also think Navi didn't show up at all. It's kind of the Astralis NIP situation. I don't know. I think this is a really, really close game, honestly, and I wouldn't be that surprised to see Force at least putting up a big fight. I don't really. I don't like valuing, one series win where one team seems to be completely off that much. Honestly, I have no idea. Give me something, Miko.
Yeah, I think both of these teams will win their own map choice, and it will be decided in third map. That's what I think, because both of these teams, they have shown some strengths, especially in their own maps. So I think it's going to be a close one. Maybe I think North is a little bit stronger right now, but Force was really good in their last game, so I really don't know.
I mean, judging by their results lately, I mean, North, like Janne said, won 2-0 Navi. Before that, in DreamHack Anaheim, they won Force in BO1. Then they lost to Furia 16-3. They 2-0'd Endpoint, and then they got 2-0'd by Gen G. Force has been winning lately, but the teams they've been winning are no-namers. So it's hard to judge. They won Complexity, which was a good game, so this could definitely go to a decider. I mean, at the end of the day, they're quite even though North is ahead because of their Navi win.
Yeah, maybe I'm actually changing my mind slightly because the DreamHack Anaheim, I think North played really well. First of all, overall, they did lose to Gen G, but I do remember that being super close, and Gen G had a really good tournament. So, okay, yeah, but then again, I think the odds are pretty much correctly set, right? North are a somewhat small favorite. It's not that small. It's like 1.6, 1.7, I think, on most sites. So
Yeah.
it's significant, but yeah, I think that's correct. North should be favored, but Force on a good day definitely could pick it up too. I know it's a boring answer, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
but the correct one.
Probably. Then to the second series of the day, which is between Navi and Big. Obviously Navi being a huge favorite. The odds are for Navi are around 1.2, 1.3, and Big is closer to 4 and even over. So the odds don't really lie in these kind of situations. Navi should win this in a really dominant fashion, especially after their last performance.
well, they should.
Yeah. In my opinion, of course, Navi is a big favorite, but is it for odds favorite? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, honestly.
Navi has played good games and not so good games, so I'm not sure about the odds in this one. I wouldn't place that big of
Okay,
odds for.
let me put it this way. Right, Navi, their latest match was versus North when they lost 2-0. Before that, their last 7 series they played were in Katowice, where all of them were best of 3s. The final was best of 5. They lost one. They lost one series, and they lost 4 maps in total. 4
Really?
maps in total and 1 series. They lost to Fnatic in
Oh,
groups
yeah.
2-1.
And,
So they dropped
the
4
face
maps.
series was really close, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was 2-1 for Navi, but still they lost 1 series. So even though they were shaky against North, this is still arguably the best team in the world at the moment.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
even though Big is, they won Fnatic 2-1. It was really tight series. Big has been playing really, really well before that. But when you look at their results, is from ESEA MDL season. So they are playing against tier 2 teams. So as much as like I always like kind of cheer for the underdogs, and even though Navi had a bad performance
Online.
yeah, in this universe, I don't think Navi is gonna make the same mistakes again. They will be ready. They know what they need to do.
Yeah.
I have already decided I'm not gonna say anything about this tournament for the next upcoming days because everything is fucking upside down anyway. So,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if Navi goes 16-0, 16-0, but I'm also not surprised if they lose. Like, honestly, at this point, I don't know. It's so fucking hard to tell.
Yeah, this leads for yesterday's conversation about online versus offline, because
Sure.
Navi is all the results before North is offline results, and Big's results are online. So Big is I think the team in this tournament that has played most online games this year and last year also. So they are more than uh, like used to this, as Navi wasn't used to online play against North. So if Navi has got in their comfort zone with online games, they will 16-0 this. But if they have the same problems that they had the last game, yeah, and I don't know,
Yeah.
in that situation, odds almost 4 is not correct for Big.
Because it's like this, right? I think it's very likely that we'll see the same situation like with Astralis. Astralis lost their first game against NIP. They got completely smashed.
Yeah.
Now they got smashed as well. I would not be surprised to see them coming back and
Same.
just take this easily.
That was the same point I was
but-
about to make. Exactly, because the greatest teams, the big teams, like the best teams, they know how to pick themselves up. They understand when they fuck up and they know how to fix their issues. So I would imagine that Navi is going to be a fucking gorilla on steroids on server today. like Big won't know what hit them. That's my prediction. I don't think Navi wants to lose again and make themselves look like absolute clowns in the eyes of everybody.
Well,
So
I
It
also
could be
think
that, or Navi's era lasted for 1 week. Either or.
yeah, I predict Navi win definitely, but I don't think it's that one-sided. I think
No, and well,
Big will definitely challenge them today.
yeah. I mean,
That's
I
that's
think
my prediction.
if we talk about odds, right? Since we did, I think it's probably pretty fair. I wouldn't really want to bet on either team, honestly. I think 1.25 or wherever Navi are is kind of correctly set. They should win, but there's definitely some upset potential. And I think if Navi went up to like, okay, this is obviously extreme, but if they went like 1.5, 1.6, yeah, sure, I would bet on them, But this seems pretty good. They should win. That's it.
all right. Then to the last series of the day, which is going to be between Fnatic and Complexity. Fnatic is a favorite. The odds for Fnatic are around 1.5-ish, and for Complexity, it's above 2.5. So heavily favored, but there is still upset potential here for sure. Fnatic has started their tournament in a bit of shaky way. You could say probably their performance. I mean, losing to Big on the first round was an upset definitely, and then Complexity losing to Force, you could say it was also an upset. So I think both of these teams have something to prove to themselves and to their fans. So this actually could turn out to be, or has the potential to be, the most interesting series of the day.
Yeah,
I think so.
and this will be very important for the group standings also, because whoever loses this, they pretty much are out.
Yep. I think this game is super interesting. Like you said, both teams were favored to win their opener. Obviously, Fnatic were bigger favorites than Complexity were. I would at least assume so. And either way, like Miga said, super important game. The loser is probably out. The winner can just come back and do whatever. The winner can win the group still.
My phone
I
is
think
ringing.
it's
I'm gonna
super.
mute for a bit.
Sure. I don't know. I really like this match. I'm super excited to see it because it's close, but obviously Fnatic are favored. I don't know. It's very interesting matchup in my opinion.
Yeah, I really wait this series. I think the other series are not that like interesting for me, but I think this really is, because this is so huge for both of the teams, and I think
Yep.
they are pretty close in performance right now. Of course, Fnatic is like better team if you look things from like larger scale, but I think Complexity is getting better, and Fnatic has got some troubles in the game, so I think it's gonna be a pretty close one. Of course, Fnatic is favorite, but I think Complexity can definitely challenge them, and they want to get out of the groups.
Sure. I mean, I think I'll just keep on saying what I've been saying for weeks, probably months already at this point. I really like Complexity. I think they are getting better and better. I think the loss against Force, sure, it wasn't great. They lost their own map pick, then they managed to win Forces, but then the last deciding game went to overtime, and I don't know. I just felt like, they still did fairly well. I really think this team will pick it up, and they will work on their issues, especially on their own map picks and so on. And yeah, this match is super cool. I'm actually kind of sad that one of the teams or the loser will probably be out.
Yeah,
I really wanted both of these teams to go through together with Navi, if I'm going to be honest. So
yeah, definitely.
In a way, it could be nice to see that we get 4 teams to the playoffs from each group, to have bigger playoffs, to have more teams in the playoffs. But you kind of, yeah, I understand. But this game is definitely going to be good. So if you're watching one series of the day, I would say this is the one to be watched.
Yeah, another reason to be up late today.
Yeah. Moving on from Counter-Strike, our second topic of the day is Hearthstone. After they gave an announcement that said the following. Upon further review of the coronavirus situation, given the broad international nature of our event, we have made the decision to hold Masters Tour Los Angeles entirely online.
Yeah, and there's more to that than this, because this event was originally going to be held in Indonesia, Jakarta. So it was moved from Indonesia to Los Angeles, and then moved to online. So this has been talk of the year for the most of the part this year, because most of the players already booked their trip to Indonesia, and then they booked their trips to Los Angeles, and now they had to cancel both of those. And
It's quite the roller coaster.
yeah, and the first part was like Blizzard announced that they will be paying back $500 from your bookings from when you change them from Indonesia to Los Angeles, which is pretty much nothing. So it doesn't cover the costs. And then when the Los Angeles got cancelled, they said they will be compensating 1,500 euros dollars if you're booked for both of those events. So, but I think after that
What's the prize pool of this? Let me see. Because where is this in Wikipedia? There it is.
You have it
Masters
in
Tour Los
our
Angeles.
page has the prize pool also.
Oh right. It's 500k.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
Using the
divided between like I think 100 players or something like that. So it's not like top 8 or anything. Yeah, but
Arlington.
This was pretty like devastating to players who ain't playing under organization.
I'm just thinking, I mean, if we moved it from Indonesia to Los Angeles to online, can we go one more step?
Yeah, we can
Like
cancel
play
the whole thing.
I don't know, physical cards or canceling everything. I don't know.
Yeah, okay, so the first one gets 32.5, second one. Yeah. Alright.
Wouldn't it be fun though if it was like Indonesia is corona free and everything is fine and we can play it in Indonesia and we go on full serve? That would be something.
Yeah, that would be perfect.
Yeah, but this has been like example of how to not do things. I think
how not to do things. Yeah.
How not to do. Yeah.
Oh well, I mean, at the end of the day, it's very good that they move it to online because
I
of
think
obvious
so
reasons.
Yeah,
but
obviously.
they just kind of, it feels like I don't know. Sometimes it's hard to kind of understand why you kind of go through all of this trouble just to then, well, just to then eventually like, oh well, fuck this, we're just gonna do online. Like,
But
why didn't you do it in the first place?
And it's Hearthstone. You don't have to think about ping or anything when you play online. You can play online from Asia to Europe or Europe to NA without any problems.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
Most of the players play in different regions. They play both EU and NA or both EU and China. So it's no problem to play international tournaments online. This is pretty much the only esports game that can do that.
Yeah, it's the perfect game for this. Like honestly, I mean, it's perfect. It doesn't cause any issues.
Yeah,
I have a question. Is there a way to cheat in Hearthstone?
Pretty much no.
I can't see a way, but maybe. I can't think of any.
Yeah, I can't think of any, and there are international online tournaments in Hearthstone. So
Yeah, No, because
Well,
I
like-
just started wondering because, like, for example, for League of Legends, Dota 2, Counter Strike, obviously you want to trust that the players are genuine, but yet still the chances that someone would try to cheat is significantly higher in an online tournament or online setting. So, but I'm just trying to figure out if if there is a way to cheat in Hearthstone. Is there something you could actually do? But
Like, what would it be? Like a Reno Jackson up your sleeve, or what?
yeah, because I would say the only way is that you kind of figure out a way to see what your opponent has in their hand currently, because the game has the data. But no, this was just a random thought because I started thinking about the officiating that happens with Dota, League, and CS, for example.
Yeah, pretty much only thing you can do is if you play without webcam, you can let someone else play your game. That's pretty much the only thing you can do to cheat.
Yeah.
You cannot see on an opponent's hand. Of course, there is spectating possibility, but in official
It's
games,
delay.
it's not available in official games. Only the casters can spectate you in your esports games.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but you can disable the possibility to watch it. Anyone can do it. If you don't want anyone to see your games, you can disable the possibility to spectate your games.
I'm just thinking somebody could build like a supercomputer that does all the calculations and like poker, for an example. Like poker bots are a big thing, and Hearthstone kind of acts the same way, right? So, but I don't think anybody would go through the trouble. But that's the only way I can think.
Yeah, one thing that was in the past a problem that it's now solved is that there is apps that automatically calculates what cards are played and what cards should be in your opponent's deck still, because the decks are pretty sometimes it's open decks. You have your opponent's deck list before the tournament, so you can upload those deck lists to your app, and its app will show you what cards you are currently having in your deck and what cards opponent is having either in their hand or in their deck. But
so I mean, that's something that should help, right? If you can see that, it helps. But I'm pretty sure if you're a professional player, you're pretty damn good at it anyway.
Yeah, exactly. But in offline tournaments, those are disabled. You can't use those. You can only use like paper and pen. But in offline games, those are available. You can have those because you cannot monitor if you're using one or not. So they are accepted in online games.
Okay, I didn't even know you can use a paper and pen, but it makes sense.
Yeah,
so
paper
then
and pen is
it
available.
Yeah, so then it literally doesn't even make a difference at all.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
We actually got a quite interesting conversation about a really random topic here, but it's So
yeah, but the Hearthstone Master Tour, Los Angeles or Indonesia, whatever you want to call it, it's played this weekend, and it's gonna be again first big tournament after new update, so it's gonna be interesting to see, and I think there's actually there's new class in Hearthstone, the first one after the launch. So now it's not 9 classes, it's 10 classes.
which class is it?
Yes, I was gonna ask you yesterday, but what class?
Yeah,
do you have something to show it on the stream too?
Yes, I will do that. I will find
It's just really funny. I played Hearthstone for the first time, like a little bit more than one arena yesterday, actually, in several years. But I didn't even realize there's a new class before you said.
Yeah,
Announcing
there is
Ashes of-
cinematic trailer. Do we want to watch that?
Yeah.
Why not?
I will link it to you so you can watch it also. Oh, it doesn't work like that. Okay, well I will link the correct one. Here. Nice.
Well, that's fine.
Demon Hunter.
Yeah, Demon
Oh,
Hunter
really?
is the new class. Let's
So it's
watch.
already out, or?
I think the update happened or is happening. I'm not sure if this is out for the tournament or not. Actually, let me see.
That would be kind of crazy though, if it
Yeah,
was just released.
but last year the World Championship was 2 weeks after major update, so it's not.
All right, sure.
This is pretty dope.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be released next week, so it's not gonna be up for the tournament. But yeah.
I'll be back in a second. I need to get some snooze.
Yeah, I will watch the trailer with the chat.
Yeah.
There's a darkness in the garden of the
Pog
heroes
champ.
that you know, casting shadows even blacker than the night. There's a prisoner walking free who still envisions what could be, though long ago he sacrificed his sight. There's a villain who's been hated, and a savior who's been shunned, who's tasted of a love that cannot be. They're all one and the same, and the worlds all fear my name. The hero that you never thought
Finally,
you'd see.
I feel whole again.
I actually gotta quickly run to the toilet. I'll be back in a minute. Apologies. You can continue talking about Hearthstone or start with the next topic, which is the PUBG thingy. Yeah, I'll jump back in a second. Be right back.
Yeah,
Alright.
but new class is actually major thing because there has
Yeah, of course.
been none in the last 6-7 years. How much?
Yeah, that's. It's actually pretty interesting it took this long, to be honest. I mean, it's pretty surprising when you think about it. I never really reflected on it, but it's pretty crazy. And I guess it would change things quite a bit. Like, even, like, no matter how good the class is, whatever it does, I mean, it's gonna change quite a lot of things, I suppose. So that's...
Yeah, it's gonna be completely game-changing.
Yeah. It's good timing. Like I said, I was playing Hearthstone for the first time yesterday in probably like 4 years or something, a little bit just for fun. So
yeah, I actually was thinking about playing Hearthstone yesterday because the new TFT update came yesterday, and I always want to wait like a few days to see that the bugs are solved, but also what kind of meta there is going on. So I didn't really want to play TFT, so I was thinking about playing Hearthstone, but I didn't play in the end, but not actually thinking about it.
Yeah, I think I went on like a 15-20 win streak with my 2016 deck. I was feeling it, but then, at some point I hit a wall and people actually started having, proper decks, so it wasn't that fun anymore. It was fun in the beginning though.
Yeah, and it's hard to play if you don't know what opponents are playing, because you don't know how to play your deck against them. So that was my problem too. I played I think holiday season in the winter. I think I played some 30-40 games or something like that, but it was really hard because you didn't know anything what others are playing. So
yeah, it's like literally right now when I played the last few games, it was like a new card that I've never seen before in every game, pretty much. So it was quite interesting,
Yeah, but yes, should we go to PUBG thing?
Yeah, let's go.
Demo, you are muted.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
Smart ass.
Smart. Such a nice yoke.
But about
so PUBG Esports. The announcement goes as follows. Due to the health concerns surrounding coronavirus, we have decided to postpone PGS Berlin. Our first priority is the safety of our players, staff, and fans. We will provide more information at a later date.
Yeah, and this is
So-
February 10th, and we still have no information. And it was supposed to be played like this weekend or next weekend originally, and there is no information how they are going to proceed with the thing. So it's quite nerve-wracking from the teams because they don't know. And I think some of the qualifiers are also postponed. So I think it was Southeast Asia and Korea, which haven't even had the qualifier yet because they're waiting the corona thing to go away.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think? Should PUBG move to online competition instead?
They are having pretty much all the qualifiers online, so it shouldn't be a problem. But since they moved to the system where they're having 4 big international tournaments a year, it's gonna be really hard to play those competitions online. So they have to redo their whole schedule for this year if they want to go online, and that is a problem for them. Because they move from like local leagues to this for this year, and now they cannot proceed with this, so they gonna have to do something else.
Yeah.
Because PUBG you cannot play like between Asia and Europe or Europe in NA. The ping is gonna be horrible. It's
Yeah.
the PUBG servers are horrible anyway, and if
Oh,
you
they are?
the FPS problems are real thing in there still, and like if you add the ping for the FPS, it's gonna be horrible. And actually, I think it's corrected now, but in the beginning of the year, you had an advantage if you played with high ping. Because you moved in your screen faster than in your opponent's screen. So high ping
That's
was
always fun.
yeah, because you can peak have a peaker's advantage with high ping. So people played with VPN. They put their VPN to Australia and go to EU server to play.
Oh god.
And
That sounds like a bunch of fun.
yeah, that was fun times.
Sounds
So-
pretty fucking horrible, to
so-
be honest.
So that is also a thing.
How is that not fixed?
Yeah, I think they fixed it after that, but I don't know how they allowed it to happen in the first place.
Hmm.
But PUBG servers and FPS problems and things like that, they are really a thing, and you have to have like really high end computer to compete in PUBG, like really high end.
Oh really? I didn't even know actually.
Yeah, you cannot play with your average gaming computer. You cannot compete in PUBG. That's
It's
not
good that you have an option. Play Fortnite.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah, but especially your RAM has to be high end. You have to it's you have to have a 16 gigabyte RAM minimum, and it has to be over 3000 megahertz. And after below that in any way, you cannot really compete. And it's like minimum requirement.
That's pretty crazy.
It's 16
Actually, but yeah.
GB and 3000 megahertz. But it's 3600 megahertz and 32 GB is like basic for the
So-
competitors.
To kind of summarize this, PUBG is not informing the teams. They cancelled the league, which is the only way for the teams to generate any revenue.
Yeah.
Their servers aren't good enough, so they could actually play professionally online.
Yeah,
They have problems with ping, and unless a player has a really high-end gaming PC, they can't really play properly.
Yep.
Let me just quickly. I wanna do this standing. Absolutely fucking fantastic.
Sounds like quite the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But luckily we got to third-party tournaments before the Corona thing happened, so there is something happening, even if PUBG don't have anything themselves. But PUBG Finland had their first international tournament, and GLL from Sweden, they had their own international tournament too. Of course, they played those at the same time in Tampere and Stockholm, so they pretty much ate from each other, from viewership and things like that. And I don't know, but yeah, I don't know how it's possible that you have a big corporation that handles their esports themselves, and they give permission for third-party operators to do things. How is it possible that now it's 19th of March? We've had two international competitions in Europe this year, and those two has been played at the same time. How the fuck is that possible? Because PUBG Corporation is the one who organizes the things with third-party operators. Third-party operators has to have permission to have big competition from PUBG Corporation. How the hell they cannot organize them for different weekends? I cannot fucking understand.
So
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm more confused now with how PUBG works than before we started talking about it, and before I didn't know anything. So it sounds like quite the show, or circus rather.
Yeah.
Yeah, PUBG is it's like it is perfect example of the game which rise to popularity too fast and wants to do things themselves still, and they are having some troubles doing that.
I mean, so
Uh,
PUBG is a circus without the ringmaster. I mean, uh, they need someone to start kind of planning things out, make a strategy, you know? Do
Yeah.
fucking something.
And their head of
Yeah.
It's like they've got nothing doing their way
yeah,
at the moment.
and they lost or kicked, or I don't know what happened. Their head of esports at the end of last year, so I don't know what happened there, but community wasn't really liking him, and I think the corporation wasn't really liking him, and I don't think he was liking the corporation. And now
So no one was liking anybody.
yeah, pretty much, and that showed last year. They like between November and January, they lost like 50% of the esports organization that was playing in PUBG or something like that. Now there's like the biggest one that doesn't really care if they lose money, and the little ones that only pretty much has the PUBG as their main game. So all the mid-tier organizations are gone. Those who they need to make money, and they are making money in other games and losing money in PUBG, and those organizations are pretty much all gone.
Yeah. Huh. Well, speaking of battle royales and things not really going their way, um, Fortnite has no tournaments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last year,
What the fuck is that?
last year it was 100 million for tournaments. This year, well, nothing
No,
yet.
this year no millions.
They're only having like PlayStation weekly clubs or something like that, and
Who,
that's
and is PlayStation relevant in any way?
no. They want to sell more skins in PlayStation Store,
Right.
I think.
So really nice way to kind of support your esports community. Let's just not have any professional competition. Problem fucking solved.
Yeah,
Next.
last year the spring championship or winter championship, the first like international championship tournament was like end of the March or something like that. So
Yeah.
now the season haven't even started.
I read something about because someone was complaining about something that happened in some qualifiers. If I find it, I'll link
Yeah.
it. But yeah, but obviously it's my personal biased opinion, but because I am still not convinced of how battle royales work properly as an esport, because I see so many issues with the observing part, especially like when if you're watching like solos or on Fortnite, whatever, you have what, 70 players there, 80 players. How do you observe 80 players in a massive map? It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I gave you the link for Fortnite Esports Kimpedia wiki, and current tournaments, like upcoming tournaments, they are all like weekly contenders and things like that. So
So there's no professional level.
yeah, they are only like what's been used to people to grind uh, towards the pro seed. Those are the second and third tier tournaments, and it's like weekly thing that is automated. So
Yeah, there's no information on World Cup 2020.
yes, nothing. There isn't confirmation that they're having that. Or they are using any money to esports. There's no confirmation that I can find.
This doesn't make any sense. Why do you throw 100 million just like it's nothing and oh yeah, let's make an esport, and then you have no follow-up?
Yeah.
No. It's not like Epic Games isn't printing money with their fucking ninja skins and stuff. So I don't know. Interesting.
Yeah, it's very strange.
And it's not like they're having bad viewership. They had very good viewership in their large tournaments. So I don't know what's happening there, because they had good competitive scene. They had good viewership. They had great venues where they held the competitions, and now they're doing nothing. So I really don't understand.
Strange.
Yeah, I don't think anybody understands at this point. It seems very strange to me.
Yeah, the latest news, they are like people leaving, people resign, people joining, people leaving, and like for never heard organizations pretty much. So I don't fucking know.
Well, it must be a weird thing to be a professional Fortnite player, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, probably the only way to make money is Twitch.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, it's probably a pretty good substitute just to make a living for most, but probably not for everybody. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
but at the same time, Fortnite has dropped a lot in views. Obviously, big part of it is because Ninja went to Mixer. But I don't know.
Yeah, for what I heard from Finnish Fortnite streamers, that it's not worth anymore. Like, biggest Finnish Fortnite streamers, they are moved to other games too. Like Sunday is playing CS:GO again, and
yeah, I actually spoke with Stonda a little bit a while ago, and he said Fortnite, like this was maybe 2 months ago. He said like even though he might get a bit more views with Fortnite, he much rather plays a game he actually enjoys.
yeah.
And you know, I have nothing but respect for him.
Yeah. And now it's like you get little bit more money if you or little bit more viewership if you stream Fortnite. But earlier it was you get hell of a lot money, a hell of a lot viewers.
Yeah.
And that's why people stream Fortnite. But now it's like little bit more money than League or CS:GO or fucking Hearthstone.
But like talking about battle royales, Apex Legends is starting to kind of pick up. I mean, it died a bit after the initial hype, but now it's kind of grinding its way. They've had good tournaments with a lot of good feedback. So I think Apex Legends has a chance to become a real esport because I really like the 3v3 setup. I really like the way it's built, and it's a really nice looking game.
Yeah,
So
but its viewership is shit.
no, well, it at the moment it has 35k. It's in the top 10 in Twitch.
Yeah. But it's like
Well-
for like tournaments and such. It
It
hasn't been
spectator is
compared.
shit.
Compared to other rising esports, it's nothing. Their viewership is like nothing because the game still ain't good for spectating and handling the spectator mode. So it's hard
Yeah.
for it to become popular in that sense.
I definitely don't know enough about any of the battle royales game to say anything, but I don't know. It might be a coincidence, but I've seen so much good stuff being said about Apex the last 2-3 weeks. For whatever reason, it might just be a coincidence, as I said, but it really seems like a lot of people are going back to it or switching over or whatever. From my point of view, it's just the people I follow on Twitter and so on, but it kind of seems like it, at least. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's pretty interesting either way.
but there
I've heard
is
a lot of things that people say that Apex is doing a lot of good things now, like they're going forward.
yeah.
So
Definitely goes forward, but is it going to be esports because of that? Because of that, I don't think so. I don't think it's.
Yeah, sure.
I don't think it's a good enough game in esports sense. I don't see it as esports.
but what about then Fortnite and PUBG?
Fortnite, I think both of those games are better as esports than Apex.
But why?
Just viewer point of view, I think both of those games are easier to understand, easier to follow. They are more like they have complexity, but it's like simple complexity in them. I think Apex is way too hectic and it's way too chaotic. I feel like the Overwatch vibe when I watch the Apex.
Interesting opinion. To a certain extent, I do agree, but not completely. If we're talking about complexity and something being kind of a clusterfuck, right? If you look at Fortnite,
Yeah. I don't like Fortnite either, but
like, personal opinions aside, if we talk about complexity and like viewer experience, the end game of Fortnite is nothing but fucking building and running around, and you can't see anything because everybody's inside a fucking box they made for themselves. Yes, in Apex there's a lot of shit happening too, but I'd like, if I need to watch a battle royale, I pick Apex 10 times out of 10 over Fortnite, and when it comes to the end game, I think PUBG is a little bit better in the end game because it's like a bit more straightforward. But I think Apex has highest entertainment value, in my opinion, because the complexity of the game is really kind of skill based. Like, when you have your 3-man squad, and I don't remember the name of the characters, but the guy that can make the zip lines and stuff, because you can play around with so many things and make absolutely insane kind of plays. Also, the entertainment value, in my opinion, in Apex is probably the highest when it comes to potential. Obviously, is it there now? Definitely not. There's still a lot of things that need to change when it comes to like observing battle royales in general, and to kind of find the angles where you can film these and how to present the players and stuff like that. But I wouldn't. In my eyes, Apex has potential to even become the biggest of battle royale esports games if they continue on the path they've been doing now.
Yeah,
Because all I
they have
read
big
is
money. They have
positive.
big money before, behind them, so it's a possibility.
Because whatever I read about Apex lately is all just positives. People are going back to it. Their viewership is growing. Their tournaments are getting a lot of good feedback. The ESL, like they already have some sort of collaboration with ESL, and ESL doesn't do events with shitty games, you know. So I honestly think Apex is a good thing coming, and they might surprise all of us by the end of the year.
But the ESL has like things with pretty much every esports games, which allows them to have some collaboration with the game.
Fair. Anyway, let's jump on to the next topic out of battle royales. We talk a little bit about DreamHack this time of the day. Two DreamHack events have been postponed or rescheduled to a later date. So DreamHack Summer in Jönköping will take place in August instead of June, and DreamHack Dallas, which was originally planned for May, will also be in August, due to Corona, obviously. So, but what I like here is that what DreamHack is doing is when they give out the announcements, they give a new rescheduled dates. They give all the information at once. So both events have been just rescheduled.
And well ahead,
and well ahead, also. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is how you do communication. Let me just read a quick part here. So we already spoke about the dates for the events. So DreamHack says the following: we are currently evaluating options available for how to proceed with DreamHack Masters. We are also in continuous dialogue with the CSPPA and other stakeholders to make sure that any considered options have minimal impact on the CSGO community, players, staff, and other tournament organizers. While this action is precautionary, and Janne seems to be dropped, it was not a decision taken lightly. We have evaluated legislators' decisions to temporarily suspend events where large groups of people gather, and the need for so many to shelter in place at this time, all of which informed our decision to put the wellness of our communities first by rescheduling. DreamHack will follow the guidance of trusted health advisors, city officials, and venue partners for our remaining events in 2020. We will strive to feature as much of each event's original content as possible and will keep fans updated through the information page above. Our goal is to continue offering great experiences at our events, which thrive by bringing communities together for these shared and beloved festival weekends. Please note this optional refund will be available for 1 month until 19th of April. Please note that if your order includes any tickets specifically for DreamHack Masters, your order will be automatically refunded and you will have to repurchase DreamHack Summer tickets if you want to attend. Please refer to support@dreamhack.com if you have further questions. So, this is a textbook. Hello, and welcome back. So this is a textbook announcement how things should be made. Well done, DreamHack. Rescheduled events, very good communication for the fans, to keep everybody in the line and everybody informed. But yeah, I mean, one could say quite expected at this point, like everything. But I like the way they announced it.
Yeah, I definitely like this, and I like the decisions they've made. What I think is interesting is that they've placed their two events so closely together. So if there is people working for both of those, it's gonna be hell of a ride for them. But other than that, that's really good information for the fans.
Oh, it is. That's actually everything we had scheduled for today.
Yeah.
It's been quite short. Hello, people in the chat. If you have any questions, ideas, something on your mind, please type we will probably talk here for another maybe 10 minutes or so before we go offline for today. Janne's internet is horrible today. This is kind of funny in the sense.
At least we two are talking here.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't have much to add at this point, and I'm not sure if it makes sense to kind of extend it just for the sake of extending.
Yeah, maybe we should talk a little bit on what we are going to have tomorrow.
Yeah, well, yeah, actually, that's a good thing. So, tomorrow, the first hour, we start with ESL Pro League results and kind of previewing the games of the day, and which is going to be followed a preview of LCS and LAC, which is going to take maybe about 40 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, let's see what we came up to.
Yeah, and then tomorrow the second hour will be dedicated for educational content about Counter-Strike. So what we're gonna do is that we're gonna watch some Counter-Strike together and explain things and to make it more viewable for new people, because there's a lot of people quarantined and in lockdown who have no other entertainment available but esports, but they might be completely new to esports. So we want to kind of start going over the games a little bit here on stream so people can ask questions while we're doing it, and that way kind of also interact and be able to give answers to everybody. So it's Counter-Strike at 1 p.m. GMT plus 1 tomorrow. So that's GMT. So that's 2 p.m. for Finland, noon for UK, and other times of the day for the rest of the world. Yeah, I don't have much more to add. I think that's pretty much it from my side.
I only have one thing. While you are waiting for tomorrow's podcast, go download TFT. It's now on mobile. Today it's announced or released in mobile. So if you're interested on auto chess things, now TFT is on mobile. I just noticed it. My phone just informed me that you can now download it.
Dota Underlords is also for mobile, and Dota is knowingly better than League of Legends. So I highly recommend.
I actually highly recommend on testing both of those because they are really entertaining games for mobiles.
And also very addictive.
Yeah, that's true. But I definitely think everybody should try them because it's like good fun and not so serious one.
All right. Yeah. Well, Jan is gone. We probably won't see him today anymore.
Yeah, but maybe tomorrow.
His internet gave up again. But yeah, I mean, we'll be back tomorrow with some CS:GO, League of Legends, and then some more CS:GO. So thank you for watching, people, and I think this.
Yeah. So.
Ciao.